Hi, everybody.
Welcome
to
Conn-Selmer
Institute Connect.
It's a lot different, isn't it?
I'm so glad you're
here.
here. I know some of my friends out there that come every year to Conn-Selmer Institute.
So
good that you're on board again, and to all the
new
new
people.
Welcome. I want to particularly thank Gary Markham and Nola Jones and Rick Anelli for inviting me to share just a few minutes with you. And they asked if I would do a session on servant leadership. So let's get at it. What do you think? I want to talk a little bit about the philosophy of servant leadership. And I think this
is so important because this is the foundation. You can read it. We'll read it together. How's that?
Leadership is not about
what's important to you or about making you feel better. It's about the other person, their desires and their dreams. And perhaps most importantly, real leadership is about providing the support so that others can develop skills that will allow them to be independent, not dependent. Robert Glazer's quote really nailed it, didn't it?
So that's our starting point. I want to talk a little bit about time. What's the importance to an administrator about time? But when they say all men are created equal every time I hear that Declaration of Independence, we hold these truths that all men are created equal. And I go, really? But you know what? There is an equalizer, and it's time. We got 24 hours a day. If you've got more than 24, call me. I could use a few extra hours. And it's how we spend that time. So every good administrator I know is really locked in on time management. I love this slide only because I'm guilty of it. We're going to keep holding these meetings until we figure out why we're not getting any work done. Guilty. There's a great Peter Drucker quote that says, you're either meeting or you're working, but you're not doing both. I'm not sure it's 100%, but it's pretty close, isn't it? And I think for all of us, at least I still do this. I try not to do it, but I still do it. When I estimate how much time something's going to take, inevitably, I don't give it enough time. I think I'm going to get it done by this time, but then there comes some extra that has to get done. So here's what I plan. And on the left, and then here's what happens. So again, we have to be careful with time and not underestimate what time is going to take. Let's start out here, gang, with the 4 cornerstones of servant leadership. Oh boy, here's the big one. People are more important than titles. Titles really are a big deal for a lot of people. And certainly I have my own and you have your own too, yes? But when I look at this, I go, is it about the titles? No, it's about the people. Titles allow people status. It pets the ego really well. And when we understand this, we go, well, I spend a lot of time doing that. I could be with those people. I'll tell you an inside story here. It's going to be a secret. I'm going to give a secret to 100 people here. I was working for a retailer. The man was brilliant. He was just fantastic. And he got all the crew together and he said, here is the sales total that I would like you to hit this year. And if you can hit that total, I will give you $2,000 a piece as a bonus. $2,000 was a lot of change at that time. Now he had that number hiked up pretty high, but everybody locked arms and we hit it. In fact, we exceeded it by quite a bit. So one of my responsibilities was to be with him when he did everybody's evaluation. And that was the time when he was going to pass out the $2,000. So I said to him, I said, boy, this is a lot of money you're going to give away. And he goes, well, I'm going to give him an option. What? He said, I'm either going to give them the $2,000 or I will give them a title and business cards with their name and title on the business cards. Over 50% of them took the title and the business cards. You know what? It's not about titles. The word teacher and the word leader are interchangeable. The teacher, student, the leader, follower. So this particular slide that says some teachers taught the curriculum today. They colored in the lines. How's that? But other teachers taught students. And there's a big difference. They taught the people. They made people more important. And this one just cracks me up. Because you know something? And those of us who are a little bit older, a lot older, we've figured out the more you know you don't know. And youth, boy, a lot of times we're pretty darn sure what we know. So every time one of the young people said, you're really wrong, you know, I think this is a lot better. I think about this poster. You want to know the difference between a master and a beginner? The master has failed more times than the beginner has ever tried. So, we got to keep pushing at it, don't we? Servant leadership. We can't lead others until we lead ourselves. And if you just want to squeeze all the water out of this, you know what it really comes down to? Role modeling. Look at your leaders. Look who you followed. They were great role models. There's a lot of times we go, people say it, but they don't do it, which cancels what they say. You got to walk the talk, yeah? So if I had one thing that I could advise, or even for myself, go, if you can get this one, Tim, you got a real shot at this leadership thing. It would be to maintain a positive attitude. And I know a lot of people think positive is fluffy or, it's all in the sky. Positive means happy and with forward motion. I have a reading that's been on my desk forever I like to share with you. And some of you probably know it. This Charles Swindoll quote, and it's punch in the jaw. So I'll read this to you. It says, the longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on my life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It's more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures, than successes, than what other people think or they say or they do. It's more important than appearance or giftedness or skill. It will make or break a company or a church or even a home. The remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we want to embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We can't change the inevitable, as we've just found out, right, in this last pandemic. The only thing we can do is play on the one string we have, and that's our attitude. I'm convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. And so it is with you. We're in charge of our attitudes. Powerful. Very, very powerful. Again, it's not about our age. It's about our attitude. So if young people can get a hold of this one, right, they get a head start on life. Number 3, leaders are measured by what they give. And again, I think particularly young people think leaders, I'm in charge. I'll take charge of this. And the truth is, the real leaders are the ones that are giving. This Danny Thomas quote is just great. Success has nothing to do with what you gain in life. It's measured by what you do for others. That is so beautiful. Because when we like ourselves best is when we're helping other people. I know. Leaders make people better people. And the reward you get for all the work you do, the opportunity to do more. Welcome to administration, right? You were really good at what you did. They promoted you, and now you get to do more. It's really a compliment. So number 3 was we're only worth what we give away. Number 4 is we can only give away what we have. And that's why you're here. You're here to learn more, to give more. Yeah. So I look at this and I go, okay, Tim, if it's so obvious, where do you stub your toe then? If you know this stuff, right? Why don't you integrate it into everything you do in your life? And you know what, for me, gets in the way? This is the varmint here for me, is complacency. I get complacent, and that always leads to laziness. So what I thought I would do is list the 5 things about laziness, right? And I didn't get that done. Okay, we'll go on. You know what? Take a look at this one. The best thing about being a teacher or a leader is it matters. The hardest thing about being a teacher or a leader is it matters every day. What we do matters. They say at every moment you're either appreciating or depreciating the environment. There's no in between. You're either making it better or you're making it worse. So when I hear people say, Tim, I'm just having a bad day. Everything's just going wrong. I'm having a bad day. My first inner thought is, I'm glad you didn't choose to be a surgeon. When the inevitable shows up for me and I'm laying on that bed and there's a heart surgeon over the top of me, first of all, I hope the person was in band or choir or orchestra. That's first. Secondly, I want them to be having a really good day. I don't want to be there on their bad day. So now I'd like to move on to the traits of a successful servant leader. These are fun. Oh boy, here we go. That's the number 1. The ability to create trusting relationships. Once you get them, you have to maintain them too. And so how do we do that? How do we get people into the game we're playing, into what we're about, so that they'll follow us? How do you motivate them? And I came from that era of people where motivation really was by fear. They would just scare us to the point that we would go ahead and do it. And so you motivate by fear or by desire. Fear works a lot faster, by the way, but desire lasts a lot longer. I hope you can read that. It says, I'm not bossy. I have skills. I have leadership skills. Do you understand? Those are adorable kids, but it's a metaphor for what lies ahead. Motivation. How do we get people to trust us? There's nothing better than positive reinforcement. And that certainly doesn't mean telling people they're good when they're not good. But it is recognizing when they do something well, and giving them credit for it. One of my favorite stories is about SeaWorld. And I don't think SeaWorld's around anymore. I think they put the whales back in the ocean, if I remember right. But anyway, SeaWorld, some of you have been there, And the final act, the final big ta-da, is when Shamu comes around and the trainer is up there holding a rope like 12 feet above the surface of the water, and Shamu comes around and up Shamu goes and over the rope and splash, and the first 3 rows get drenched. Yeah. And then the trainer throws Shamu a fish. How did they get that multi-ton animal to jump 12 feet in the air on command? So here's how it works. First of all, they put the rope in the bottom of the pool. And one day, Shamu was swimming around and just inadvertently swims over the rope. And the trainer splashes the water, and Shamu goes, "What?" And they throw Shamu a fish. Shamu goes, "Well, this is great. I'll hang around here. Fish, food." But nothing happens. So Shamu forgets about it. Off Shamu goes swimming around. All of a sudden, swims around in the same spot over the rope. Splash, splash, splash. Fish. Shamu goes, "Every time I swim around there, I'm going to get rewarded. I'm going to get a fish." So Shamu starts going faster. Yeah, fish, fish, fish. Well, guess what they do? They start to raise the rope. Standards are going up now, yeah? So around comes Shamu, fish, around the rope gets higher and higher. All of a sudden, Shamu comes around and there's an obstacle in the water. That rope is there. And Shamu goes, "Wait," submerges, comes up, and no fish. Now, what do? Do they drain the pool for a while? Do they stab Shamu with a pitchfork? Do they run electrical shock through the water so Shamu will get it? They don't do anything. And Shamu goes, "What? Let me try again." Goes around, submerges under the rope, comes up, nothing. Shamu goes, what happened to the game? This was a great game. Guess what they do? They lower the rope. So here comes Shamu one more time to try. Goes over the rope, comes up, fish. Shamu goes, "Got something to do with that rope." Comes around, goes under the rope, up, nothing. Goes around again, comes over the rope, fish. She goes, got it. It's the rope. I've got to go over the rope. Now, here we go. And now the rope starts to hike. Eventually, they pull the rope out of the water. Here comes Shamu, goes, "What? Oh, for heaven's sakes, it's out of the water. Wait, I can still get over it, right?" Pops that back fin up, over, splash, fish, lots of fish. Shamu goes, "All I have to do is jump over that rope." And now we're moving fast. Now, here's the cool part of the story. When they train the new Shamu, they don't do it the same. They put the new Shamu in with the old Shamu. And they talk whale talk. And the old Shamu says, "You're not going to believe what happens here." So you see that human up there? It said, if you swim around and you go over the top of that rope the human is holding, you'll get a treat. You'll get fish. You'll get rewarded. And the new Shamu goes, "Say what?" I said, "Watch me. Just watch me." And the old Shamu comes around, goes up over the rope, splash, fish. And then says to the new Shamu, "You can do it. Wait, let's do it together. That'll make it safe." And both of them go around and up over the rope, lots of fish. In that short amount of time, the new Shamu learned what the old Shamu took a long time to learn just through positive reinforcement. The really good ones, gang, oh, we all know this, have outstanding communication skills. That's how you got here. Yeah, you're good at communicating. You know how to connect with people. Interesting thing about communication. Communication isn't what we say that counts. It's what they get that counts. And if they don't get it, it doesn't make any difference if we've said it. And how many times have we heard somebody go, "Well, I told them so." They didn't get it. They didn't understand. One of my very favorite cartoons. Take a look at that. It doesn't make any difference what is on that blackboard. It's not in a language they understand. So if they don't understand it, it's not communication. Oh boy, the great leaders, they model high standards. Excellence. If you settle for less than excellence, you're going to get less than you would have settled for in the first place. Excellence. And this will make you smile. Now, how long do you think that sign stayed there before somebody got it? I know, it's hysterical. You want another laugh? Yeah, I'm going to hang out with that person for sure. You want to be proactive and you want to be positive. Interesting about positive. Positives come and go, but negatives accumulate. Supposedly, it's an 8-to-1. It takes 8 positives to offset 1 negative. So we might want to consider the outcome of what we're going to communicate and the standards we're demonstrating, because that's what counts. The real leader has the wherewithal to inspire. And again, I've heard people make fun of this. It's all that inspiring stuff. To inspire, to put people in the spirit, to be enthused. Enthusiasm comes from the word, the derivative entheos, which means in the presence of a divine spirit, right? To be on mission, to be passionate. Again, I ask you to take leader and teacher and trade them. The mediocre leader tells, the good leader explains, the superior leader demonstrates, but the great leader inspires. And again, that's why you're here. So when I look at, okay, so what is this? What is the element here of inspiration? I mean, are we cheerleaders or what's the element? The thing I think that what gets people, what makes people want to follow is the fact that if they stub their toe and they fail, they're not going to get in trouble, but they will be persistent to go to the next level, to use it actually, to gain from the experience. You know, none of us like to fail, but we all do along the way. I want to share some failures with you here. This gentleman was the editor of the Kansas City Star, major paper, and he got fired because the owners of the paper said he's not very creative. That's a pretty big failure, isn't it? So he and his wife packed up the car and headed to California. On the way, he sketched. He liked to sketch, yeah? And he sketched a little mouse, and he showed his wife, and she goes, what's that? He said, this is Mortimer Mouse. She said, well, that's a cute mouse, but that's a dumb name. Let's call him Mickey Mouse. The gentleman was Walt Disney. What if he had stopped after the failure? Wouldn't have Disney World, wouldn't have Disneylands all over the place. Oh, here's another one. I love this one. This young lad wanted to make movies, yeah? Well, I mean, who doesn't, man? That'd be fun, right? So when he graduated from high school, he went to the University of Southern California. They have a wonderful cinema arts program there because, I mean, they're in Hollywood where movies are made and everything. And they said, well, before we can enroll you, you have to take this battery of tests to see if you can qualify. Unfortunately, he failed. He was never admitted to the school. Boy, what a failure. His name is Steven Spielberg. Got more academies than anybody. Here's a good one. Wanted to be a basketball player, so he tried out for his high school basketball team, and he was cut. He didn't make it. Michael Jordan was his name. What if he'd have quit? We wouldn't have had Air Jordan and all those wonderful records and all his phenomenal things he brought to the sport. And here's my last one. Since we're musicians, I think you'll like this. There was a talent show at the Grand Ole Opry. You know, anybody off the street could come and perform, see how well they could do. So there was a truck driver, that he liked to sing. So he got in the ranks there, and he went out and sang his song, and he got booed. And as he left, the people at the Grand Ole Opry said, you're going down the wrong lane here, pal. You're a truck driver. Go drive your truck. We never want to see you again. His name was Elvis Presley. Persistence alone is omnipotent. The real leaders can distinguish between knowledge and wisdom. I'm going to read something to you here. And I know when you read to people, you're not supposed to do that, but hang on with me. Knowledge alone cannot give rise to value. It's only when knowledge is guided by wisdom that the value is created. The font of wisdom is found in the following elements: an overarching sense of purpose, a powerful sense of responsibility, and finally, the compassion and desire to contribute to the welfare of humankind. The essence of education is this process whereby one person's character, you, inspires another. Once children, followers, feel that their teachers, leaders, are genuinely concerned for their individual welfare, they will begin to trust them and open up to them. Amazing, isn't it? That's powerful. So let me back up one here. So we have to decide, is it knowledge or is it wisdom? Is it content or is it context that makes the difference? Is it the cognitive or the affective that makes the difference? Is it the facts or the feelings that makes the difference? You know what the answer is? Yes. It's the cognitive and the affective blended together that makes the difference. I'm sure you're all aware of this Maya Angelou quote, gripping. I've learned that people will forget what you said, and people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Maya Angelou. I've joined up with a person that has just really made me feel good. And that's Elisa, who is putting all this together. Man, she's got all this tech stuff going. Elisa has the ability to make people feel good. So as a result, we all want to follow. As the wise old owl says, knowledge is knowing what to say, but wisdom is knowing when to say it. So this question keeps coming up, and I'll see if I can answer it. People say, you know, Tim, why did you spend 4 decades of your life running around the country like a medicine man or a gypsy? What? Why? Why would you do that? Why would you spend 250 nights a year in a hotel? You've got a wonderful family. Why would you do that? So I'm going to give you the reason why. I don't know if you can see their faces, but that's just a clip of some of the leadership workshops from last summer. And those young people came because they want to make a difference. They want to see what this leadership thing is all about. And you know what? The people that are our bands and choirs and orchestras of today, they're geared to be the leaders of tomorrow. And one of those young people you're looking at has the wherewithal to cure cancer. But it's going to take somebody to trigger that creative mind for them to understand how it will happen. Again, that's you. You make a difference. God, I love those kids. So my last bit of advice, and with my advice and a quarter, you can't get a Coke out of a machine, so don't get too jazzed about this, is we all need a mentor. And I know we've had several throughout life, right? We had several that are great and have guided us and have been shepherds to get us to different places, but you always want to have a mentor. And so this one I have right now is unbelievable, because a great leader, a great mentor, they won't get in your face. He listens to me. He never tells me I'm wrong. He just listens. He really doesn't care what I'm wearing that day or if my tie matches my suit. He doesn't care if I had garlic for lunch. He's just there, always glad to see me, always glad to see me. So I want you to meet him. That's Sammy Sampson. And no, he's not been photoshopped. That is the size of his head. I'm on the right, by the way, because you got that mixed up. Yeah. Every time I come home, he runs to meet me, sits right beside me, and just loves me for who I am instead of who he thinks I should be. I want to again thank Gary Markham, great friend. Boy, he was a brother, as close as I'll have, yeah. And certainly to Nola Jones, who's upset the apple cart to make Conn-Selmer Connect work. And to my friend Rick Ganelli, who can really walk the talk. So most of all, I want to thank you. You just gave me the most important thing in your life, your time. And I hope that maybe there was a couple things that said that might have, light bulb went off and you go, oh, I can take advantage of that, right? If you're a good leader, people will admire and respect you. But if you're a great leader, people will admire and respect themselves. Thanks for the time together. Have a great rest of the conference. I'm so glad I got to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Timmer.
Thank you, bro. Thank you so much. I'll hang here for some questions. If somebody's got something, put them up, and I'll be happy to do the best I can to answer them. But thank all of you. Yeah. He's got some nice chats here.
But he's not. I think.
Well, these are great. Thank you so much, everybody. You make me cry.
Where can I? God, this is what happens when I leave.
Being in Christmas. These are all my friends.
I'm happy, but Rick is not happy. It's about Sammy.
I'll make the PowerPoint available to you for those that you want. Thank you so much just for all these beautiful things you're saying here. Man, this is fuel that's going to last me for a while. But of course, it's a reflection of you, right? We give to others what we have in ourselves. We find in others what we have in ourselves. And so this is such a great testimony to you. Boy, your people are so lucky to work with you. So lucky. And you're lucky to get to work with Gary and with Rick and with Nola and all the people they brought in front of you. Man, if this doesn't do it, I'm not sure what is going to do it. And as you all know, if you want or need anything, just let me know. I've got a lot of free time in my life. I just kind of sit around and watch soap operas. So I'd be happy to do anything I could to help you. In all seriousness, pick up the phone and call, hit an email. All of you know this about me. I answer every email. And they said that would age you, but I'm 31 years old, hadn't shown up yet, right? Oh, let me know. Let me know what we can do to make things better for all of us. Oh, that's a nice thing to say. Thank you, John. Thank you so much. But I think I'm going to take these and take them to my mother, who always questions me and says, do you really think all that education stuff you did was worthwhile, Tim? Yeah, modeling's it, Brian. Spot on, buddy. Spot on. We can't lead others until we lead ourselves. The train doesn't go faster than the engine. And that's why you've been put in the position of an engine. Because they know that you know, pull the whole thing. Oh, Mary Land, I love her. I'm in love with her. And we are getting through these tough times together. And you know what? It's going to make us stronger. There is no question. It already has. And everybody with the sky is falling, those people, the sky is always falling on them. Darwin was right. The strong shall survive. And regardless of what the extrinsic circumstances is, the one thing that we have control over is who we are and what we do. So when everybody just shrugs their shoulders and goes, well, it's not like it was. Never be like it was. Well, of course it's not going to be like it was. But it's going to be something different and special. And we wouldn't be doing this right now if this whole thing hadn't happened, right? You're so good. You're dealing with the best of the best. And I still believe this in my heart and soul. And we can argue about it. People in music can make more of a difference to a child than any other teacher in school. Now, clearly, you know, if you're a good football or basketball player, whatever, coach, that coach will have that same impact. But not everybody gets to do that. But everybody can be in music. Every kid is born with the propensity to make music. And you and I are here because of those one individuals or two individuals that were our mentors that just would not let us give up or give in. You know? So now it's our turn to pay forward. And if there's ever been a challenge to do it, we're in it right now, gang. I mean, you know, there's a lot of hurdles here, but that'll make us jump higher. And for those people who want to give up or want to give in, I certainly understand. Nobody said to the camel, here's 4 more bales of hay for you. Let's see if you can still go as fast. But we've got them. We take them. We're as good as we want to be. Successful people do not know how to not be successful. Those of you who are watching this, who are part of the Music Administration Collaborative, you couldn't fail if you wanted to. You're success people. That's how you got to where you are. And that toolbox of success you have does not have failure tools in it. Because if you stub your toe or something goes wrong, the first thing you do is correct it. You go right back in and make it right. So if that's the case, and they put a new game board in front of us, and it's really hard, guess what your toolbox is? It's success. And when we talked about all those people who were, quote, quote, failures, come on. They didn't fail. It was just a little diversion there for a little bit. And don't worry, guilty as charged. I have to remind myself of this at every turn in the road. And my wife, who is a lot smarter than I am, and we went to first grade together, isn't that great? She's a lot smarter than I am. And every time I start to, like, you know, get in that funk or sort of deflate or when, she'll go, Tim, you ought to go read one of your own books. And then she raises that eyebrow. And I go, yes, ma'am. You know, you ought to walk what you talk, Tim. And I say, yes, ma'am. And she goes, you're the luckiest human being in the world, Lotzenheiser. And I say, yes, ma'am, because I am. I get to work with you. I get to work with the creme de la creme. What an honor. What a privilege. But let's widen that and go, what a privilege it is for us to get to work with our colleagues. And you know who's going to make you the best is the one that's the orneriest, the one that you think will never be positive about anything, because they make us work harder. They make us find new tools. They are sure they're going to win. And you know what? They're not. I love that thing where, and I'll do this now, I got to shut down here. We'll talk all day. Where, Sir Edmund Hillary, when he went to the top of Mount Everest, he was the first guy to get to the top of Mount Everest. Yeah. And he said to the Sherpas, nobody had ever been there before. He said to the Sherpas, all they were gathered, and he said, I will take one of you with me. And he said, but I want you to know this. We're either going to get to the top or we die. And I think it was Tin Zhang stepped forward. He was 19 years old at the time. And they made it. They made it to the top. First humans ever to get to the summit of the world. And when they came back down, all the news media was there because this was a breakthrough, right? And they said, which one of you stepped on the top of first? Which one of you actually put your foot on the top of the world first? And they wouldn't tell. They wouldn't tell. And in the very end of their lives, one of them had an autobiography, or one of them had a biography written about him, and one did his own autobiography. And in each one, they said the other person was the one. We got to lock together here, gang, don't we? We'll get to the top of Mount Everest, but we're not going to be able to do it alone. That's why you're so important. So again, thanks to all my people. Rick, thanks for being a great room monitor for me. And just have a great remainder of Conn-Selmer Institute Connect. I mean, we got people doing everything they possibly can to plug this together so you and I can be together. Bless you. I'll see you along the way. Thank you.